to be kind to all, to like many and love a few, to be needed and wanted by those we love, is certainly the nearest we can come to happiness. Happiness is not something ready-made, it comes from your own actions. If you want happiness for an hour, take a nap. If you want happiness for a day, go fishing. If you want happiness for a year, inherit a fortune. If you want happiness for a lifetime, help someone else. Don't underestimate the value of doing nothing, of just going along, listening to all the things you can't hear, and not bothering. Happiness is not in the mere possession of money. It lies in the joy of achievement, in the thrill of creative effort, since you get more joy out of giving joy to others. You should put a good deal of thought into the happiness that you are able to give. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. We all get report cards in many different ways, but the real excitement of what you're doing is in the doing of it. It's not what you're gonna get. In the end, it's not the final curtain, it's really in the doing it and loving what you're doing. Happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. Far better is it to dare mighty things, to win glorious triumphs, even though checkered by failure, than to rank with those poor spirits who neither enjoy much nor suffer much, because they live in a gray twilight that knows not victory nor defeat. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Happiness is not the absence of problems, it's the ability to deal with them. Whoever is happy will make others happy. Letting go gives us freedom, and freedom is the only condition for happiness. If, in our heart, we still cling to anything, anger, anxiety, or possessions, we cannot be free. The happiness of life is made up of the little charities of a kiss or smile, a kind look, a heartfelt compliment. If more of us valued food and cheer and song above hoarded gold, it would be a merrier world. If only we'd stop trying to be happy, we could have a pretty good time. Happiness is a risk. If you're not a little scared, then you're not doing it right. The power of finding beauty in the humblest things makes home happy and life lovely. Now and then it's good to pause in our pursuit of happiness and just be happy. Happiness is not a possession to be prized. It is a quality of thought, a state of mind. Action may not always bring happiness, but there is no happiness without action. So we shall let the reader answer this question for himself. Who is the happier man? He who has braved the storm of life and lived, or he who has stayed securely on shore and merely existed? Happiness is holding someone in your arms and knowing you hold the whole world. Count your age by friends, not years. Count your life by smiles, not tears. If more of us valued food and cheer and song above hoarded gold, it would be a merrier world. Success is getting what you want. Happiness is wanting what you get. There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power or our will. Happiness is a perfume you cannot pour on others without getting some on yourself. Just because you are happy, it does not mean that the day is perfect, but that you have looked beyond its imperfections. The secret of happiness is not in doing what one likes, but in liking what one does. You must be the best judge of your own happiness. One is happy as a result of one's own efforts once one knows the necessary ingredients of happiness: simple tastes, a certain degree of courage, self-denial to a point, love of work, and above all, a clear conscience. There is a kind of happiness and wonder that makes you serious. It is too good to waste on jokes. The reason people find it so hard to be happy is that they always see the past better than it was, the present worse than it is, and the future less resolved than it will be. I shall take the heart, for brains do not make one happy, and happiness is the best thing in the world. Most people would rather be certain they're miserable than risk being happy. I do not think we have a right to happiness. If happiness happens, say thanks. Got no checkbooks, got no banks. Still, I'd like to express my thanks. I've got the sun in the morning and the moon at night. Do not look for happiness outside yourself. To awaken, seek happiness inside. Why should we build our happiness on the opinions of others when we can find it in our own hearts? Happiness is like those palaces in fairy tales, whose gates are guarded by dragons. We must fight in order to conquer it. Laughter is a sunbeam of the soul. The thing everyone should realize is that the key to happiness is being happy for yourself and yourself. The supreme happiness of life is the conviction that we are loved. Why not seize the pleasure at once? How often is happiness destroyed by preparation, foolish preparation? It is necessary to the happiness of man that he be mentally faithful to himself. Infidelity does not consist in believing or in disbelieving, it consists in professing to believe what he does not believe. Happiness is a gift, and the trick is not to expect it, but to delight in it when it comes. Happiness comes from living as you need to, as you want to, as your inner voice tells you to. Happiness comes from being who you actually are instead of who you think you are supposed to be. It is essential to happiness that our way of living should spring from our own deep impulses, and not from the accidental tastes and desires of those who happen to be our neighbors, or even our relations. I needed to stop being what everyone thought I was. Dream as if you'll live forever. Live as if you'll die today. Much of the stress that people feel doesn't come from having too much to do. It comes from not finishing what they've started. There is no such thing as a problem without a gift for you in its hands. You seek problems because you need their gifts. You cannot judge what should bring others joy, and others cannot judge what should bring you joy. If you start to think the problem is out there, stop yourself. That thought is the problem. Happiness is not a station you arrive at, but a manner of traveling. Thousands of candles can be lit from a single candle, and the life of the candle will not be shortened. Happiness never decreases by being shared. In our lives, change is unavoidable. Loss is unavoidable. In the adaptability and ease with which we experience change lies our happiness and freedom. If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. Happiness is not having what you want, it is appreciating what you have. We can have peace if we let go of wanting to change the past and wanting to control the future. Money doesn't bring happiness and creativity. Your creativity and happiness brings money. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. There is no stress in the world, only people thinking stressful thoughts and then acting on them. In the midst of movement and chaos, keep stillness inside of you. There is only one thing more painful than learning from experience, and that is not learning from experience. Anything in life that we don't accept will simply make trouble for us until we make peace with it. Persons of high self-esteem are not driven to make themselves superior to others. They do not seek to prove their value by measuring themselves against a comparative standard. Their joy is being who they are, not in being better than someone else. Do what you have always done and you'll get what you have always got. Happiness is where we find it, but very rarely where we seek it. The mind is its own place, and in itself can make a heaven of hell, a hell of heaven. In our daily lives, we must see that it is not happiness that makes us grateful, but the gratefulness that makes us happy. Boredom is the feeling that everything is a waste of time. Serenity, that nothing is.